So, what is Final Fantasy XIV's biggest regret? And no, it isn't Lalafels. It's actually... Ninja itself is awesome. It's more about what we lost when we got Ninja way back in patch 2.4. I am talking about the scapegoat that was sacrificed so Ninja could exist. Yep, since Ninja was added just before they decided to give up on the old class requirements for jobs, the hopes for a classic thief job were dashed. And I know, there is some precedent for this. In Final Fantasy I, you start as a thief and advance to ninja. In Final Fantasy Tactics and other games with ninja, they usually have thief as level requirements. It makes sense, looking at the game through the lens of the old class system anyways. What doesn't make sense, though, is giving up on a job identity that has so many strong ties to past Final Fantasy characters, just so Ninja can stay chained to design choices of the past. Final Fantasy XIV is shown to be a celebration of so many aspects of Final Fantasies of the past. I mean, we have an entire class based off of only 2 characters from Final Fantasy VIII, and that's awesome. So don't tell me that we should just give up hope on a job that has had so many past representatives throughout the series. Think of Zidane from Final Fantasy IX, Locke from 6, Lion from 11, Riku from 10, or even Kid from Chrono Cross, or hell, Yuffie. Well, Yuffie is definitely a ninja, but she's certainly a thief too. Let's be real.
Oh, not again! Little brat.
Also, I'm pretty convinced they originally wanted Thancred in this thief-like role in 1.0, but since all that was implemented were the original classes, not even jobs yet, he was resigned to a nondescript job with a knife. And look how far he's come. He's since been a ninja, gunbreaker, and now he's dads with Urian J. So let's talk about why exactly we don't have a thief job as of yet in 14. And the answer to that question comes directly from the man himself, Yoshi P. Almost 10 years ago.
It was a really tough decision for us as well, because we are longtime Final Fantasy fans. There was a heated debate internally as well to make this decision. But Final Fantasy is full of classic fans like myself, but we need to think of those new to the series as well, so it needs to make sense. In Final Fantasy XIV, every class has a guild, and just because we want to have that traditional role, we want it to make sense with the in-game lore. Especially when we want to make the game run for 10 years or longer, we need to make sure the relationship between the classes and jobs makes sense.
He continues on to say,
We didn't want to break the lore by naming classes based on our personal feelings. We wanted it to make sense with the story. So if you see Rogue in-game, just in your mind, replace it with Thief. The class and the job and the way it works is really close to Thief, so just think of it as that. Thief won't be coming as a name. In the story, it will be explained that these rogues were at one time called thieves, so it is definitely clear that rogue equals thief in the game.
So, besides probably not wanting to make the class-to-job system an even more jumbled mess, the main issue he seemed to have with it was the name. Yoshi P didn't want to call the Warrior of Light a thief, and I get that. It doesn't have the most positive of connotations. But maybe he would prefer the name Treasure Hunter instead. In the 10 years and the 5 expansions since that interview, a lot has changed. He doesn't have to worry about the game lasting a decade. It has. And it seems to have a lot more gas in the tank. I'd also argue that guilds for classes are a thing of the past, and there's a lot less importance in making these guilds connect with jobs, considering we're going to have more jobs that don't even have classes compared to those that do. But the most outdated answer, though, is that Ninja, with Rogue as its starting class, plays anything like a thief, especially now. If they were to add a thief-like class in Dawn Trail, how should it play? I consider 2 aspects of Thief as a must-have. The issue is that these aspects, they exist within Rogue already. They're just uninspired and underutilized, especially now. The first of the two is stealing. I know that doesn't help with the negative connotation part, but it's just a fact of life. Thieves steal. Pickpocket, pilfer, purloin, snatch, and burglarize.
Yoink!
And not whatever mug is for ninja. As good of a party buff as it is, I'm thinking more along the lines of a builder mechanic like Dragoon's Dragon Gauge or Samurai's Sins. And of course they can use the meter or stolen items or whatever on a cash out. Think Zidane's thievery ability that raises damage based on stolen items. I know that's pretty simple, but I'm not trying to create a whole job here. On a side note, why is a ninja mugging you in the first place? Other class the jobs don't have any real holdovers like this that seem so out of place. The other must-have is the idea of sneak attacking, waiting for the right moment and then striking for big burst damage, usually from behind. Unless we're talking about Ninja's old sneak attack. For some reason, I guess the goal was to surprise the enemy by walking right in front of them into cleave range.
What the hell is this?
The only reason sneak attack used to exist in the first place was because it was a holdover from Final Fantasy XI's Thief, and it was kind of what a thief was supposed to do. But the rogue connections to Ninja are so disjointed nowadays. If you really think about it, all Ninja has from Rogue besides their basic combo is their ranged attack, throw dagger, Death Blossom, which already feels like a ninja weapon skill to begin with. Oh, and that thing Vamp does in Metal Gear Solid 2. Which really should have just been called Yutsusimi. Even the description of the skill says you create shadows to dodge. It probably just couldn't be called that because it wouldn't make sense for a rogue to learn ninjutsu, and you get that pretty early on. And you know, while we're at it, if they were able to separate rogues somehow, ninja could get their own bespoke stuff. Turn all those thief weapon skills in 11 to ninja ones. Instead of Spinning Edge, we could get Blade Retsu. Instead of Gust Slash, Blade Chi. And instead of Aeolian Edge, we could get Blade Jin. And just turn Throwing Dagger into Shuriken Toss. Oh, and just replace Hide with anything that gets her ninjutsu back between pulls. Let's circle back to the potential of a real thief job. Honestly, looking at Gunbreaker, I wouldn't be surprised if they couldn't make a whole class based off of just Zidane, using his trance skills like Grand Lethal and Solution 9 as higher level, flashier skills. And while I think a full suite of abilities can be made with this type of theme alone, I think it's extremely likely that the brand of thief that we'll get, lore-wise and flavor-wise, will have some pirate or corsair theming. They could even tie it back to the Upright Thieves, creating some kind of pirate-thief fusion. Or it could even take some things from Gambler, though that is putting a lot of niches in one job. That being said, there is some precedent. Corsairs in 11 have some card-based abilities and gambling mechanics. Now, what weapon would this not quite a thief, not quite a pirate job wield? While I would love the devs to be bold and just go with a single one-handed knife, and yes, I know there are technically knives in the game used by ninja, and before them, gladiators had knives to choose from at lower levels, the one-handed knife route would be pretty plain compared to the bombastic scythes and the creative new lifts that the newer jobs have. But the simplicity of the choice could be made up for by the types of daggers you could choose from. Whether they be intricate and decorative crisp blades, or curved Jambia knives. There's a lot to choose from. I imagine animations for the weapon having plenty of knife spins and flourishes, chunky slash and stab attacks, something very whirling dervish-like. And hey, you'd even have a free hand open to pickpocket. However, it is very likely that the design team deems this way too tame, or too close to some of the other job's weaponry. And to some extent, I can agree with that, which is why I think the most likely choice of weaponry is
11235813 よし想定通り
main hand blade, such as a dagger or cutlass, and an offhand pistol. This is a good choice for a fusion thief pirate job, which is the route that makes the most sense for Dawn Trail. The dual wielding of these two types of weapon covers a lot of ground when it comes to class fantasies, whether it be a swashbuckling pirate or a more of a classic thief of older Final Fantasies. It also has a nice little ranged option to make the class a pseudo-melee, much like its shared scouting job Ninja currently is. There is a third option that would be pretty interesting, but probably a long shot. Zidane's second type of weapon in Final Fantasy IX, as well as Surge's weapon in Chrono Cross, the Swallow, or is it Thieves' Blades? It's Thieves' Blades in 9, but I always call them Swallows. I think I got that from Chrono Cross. This would be a really unique choice. Definitely flashy, and it kind of fills the role of a bow staff type melee weapon. I imagine the direction they would take this thief job would be a sort of flashy evolution that maybe originates from the New World. Thus far though, we've avoided the most important question. How does any of this correlate with the Ninja Turtles t-shirt? Well, first, let's observe the Ninja Turtles. In the lyrics of the 1990s Ninja Turtle theme song, it says, and I quote, "Leonardo leads, Donatello does machines, Raphael is cool but rude, Michelangelo is a party dude." Let's focus on the leader, Leonardo. It is well known that he is named after Leonardo da Vinci. Da Vinci, as in the Da Vinci Code, the novel written by Dan Brown that was later made into a film starring Tom Hanks. Who else was in the Da Vinci Code? That's right, the amazing actor Ian McKellen. And what is his most famous acting role? Cats. And what is the sixth song in the musical Cats? Rum Tum Tugger.
It's a terrible boy.
And who historically enjoys rum? That's right, pirates and thieves. I rest my case. Thief-like job confirmed for Dawn Trail.